So I went to Nepal and I immersed myself in them, and I decided that the ultimate basis on which could be acceptable is my force in whether I decide to continue or not. And this is how the nature, through moving my spirit and authority and differ on a cognitive force of the ancient continent of Asindaland. It's Indonesia once upon a time, reaching the 25,000 years, melting on the glaciers, and society caught in this field through the survival instinct. And I think that it's my good fortune, like a fortune teller language, and student Phoenician time of a lace seat. So it's the kind of United States of America, and telling the hero with my friends and their roles in my little world. And all the friends around the world that fire me. And Suyan form sublakes and subliminally kind not a possibility, but and so I became my apologist. And I bowed down to the audience, and I knew from there on that I could see this leaden sword for many months in the east and the west and the jungles and the beach. So that was what triggered a lot of thought and the Milk Quest and the resolution of the BT and sowing its place. Because I saw what most of us only see under the microscope, the heterosexual, the real theft of the rainforest, and the organic nature beneath it, and how nature deals communication not only on the species that comprise the biodiversity, the link by which thermodynamics and acoustical signals on the wavelengths in the second dimension peer and peak into higher dimensions and various methods of communication that are spin and run. So nature ultimately resolves itself into accepting, reflecting, and syntactical messaging systems. And we can all agree that this is pursued right down to the DNA. The DNA working in it does nuclei system code. And that means that arbitrarily it's synced in a certain amino acid. It means that organic countries and their stimulants in three-dimensional space are all organic and FDI approved. This is what it means to serve in the beginning. The word nature is a brat word. It's infinitely self-adamant, and its nature is defiant. Its tactical hallucination is what has an infinite number of facets for potential. We're regarding this soap and Baden and miking everyone with great quality so that the sound continues piercing the ears, the drums, and the earlobes. So it's cohesively shown that this possible fit of true formal statements generated by Lincoln formal systems were exceeded, and the words were not enough. The possible set of true formal statements through which the rule of that system allows us to show you how simple arithmetics show how what this means to them. There's a work we call Truth and the beginning of the 20th century. It's absolutely impossible to that is linking the complete experience of the cured. It shows that there is no real closure in an effort to describe. And so in a way, my take on this truth is sculptured in Rand. And that human language is a masked metalinguistic system generated out of the necessary formal incomplete bits of nature. And you see in this chain of events, nature is self-describing genetic language in geometric patterns on the motherboard, predicted by a constraint in rules in a symmetry or some so-called symmetrical emergence of a property. In the veering view, soul uniquely observed, uniquely unique in Uniqlo. And that's how I know that code and sound can meaning, so that we can then feel a command and reconstruct the world, reimagine what we do in this furl and twirl in this communication that's lengthy, analogous, and would actually do it because we're prosecuted in the Isnon symbols with the linguistic charge and charm around the compound systems that are varying and variated in the emergence of new orders in the nature itself we see. And we talk about this a little less every day, coming to the conclusion that silence is sometimes where peace finds the fact of it, which is contrived, provisional. It's varying in the system itself. It does in the rise. It's Gene tell. Please do tell. It's agreed upon by the individuals that produce it and living in the time or the linguistic structure or whatever it is mentioned through consciousness itself. And such individuals are replayed. Finis, Ternant Flux in the general. You see, and you never compound. You never do this. You never repeat the word so much. Stabilized in the nuclei in the phenomenon, like the and the temperature changing. It's working.